If he doesn't, well, just give him a round of applause at the end anyways. My relationship I had with my uncle was as unique as he was. He was someone I looked up to so much, and with that, I felt it was only right to share some of my favorite memories and stories. With him, I'm going to try my best to keep this light, but Carson, if anyone cries, it's on you, my guy. Todd had an intense love for sports, and he's a huge reason why I am where I am today. Todd was one of my biggest role models growing up. I remember saying, I want to be like Uncle Todd. Whether that was a good or bad thing at the time, I always wanted to be Todd. Some days that meant walking around the house attempting to pop a baseball off my bicep like he did, or attempting to blow those tongue bubbles like he always did. And for full transparency, 29 years later, I still can't do it. Nonetheless, I always wanted to be him. I vividly remember going out to Grandpa Beller's whenever Todd was in town and laying with him on the floor while he threw a baseball up and down, what seemed like 4 hours, nearly letting it hit me every time. While I was laughing and also scared. I never wanted it to end. He always found a way to include me in everything, and that is how we built the bond that I will always hold very close to my heart. As I grew older, and that childlike superhero admiration I had for my uncle faded into a type of friendship I'll never forget. That admiration was taken up by these three boys, Blake, Carson, and most importantly, Cole. I knew they were in great hands, and that they were on the right path to have the passion for sports that I got from my uncle. As I grew older and moved away for hockey, Todd was always one of my first calls or texts when I needed advice. It didn't matter whether I was in deep crap or needed advice on how to get out of it, or I just simply needed someone to talk to about balancing college and hockey or the dating game. He was the one I called. And no matter what, he always had an answer for me. All those conversations I will hold closely to my heart, and while most of them led to advice I will one day share with my son and others, well, they will just stay between me, Todd, and myself. As you all know, one of the only things Todd loved more than Michigan football was coaching. Todd had a unique ability to coach each kid differently. Players of all skill sets were able to relate to him because of that. While coaching, mostly baseball and some football, Todd was also a hockey coach in his younger years. I remember playing for the Taylor Wild and Mites, and Todd was the coach. From a very early age, Todd shared his love for hockey with me, and I always saw the passion he had for it. I mean, what other coach get kicked out of every Mite game for telling a ref off? That takes passion. All kidding aside, I now find myself coaching a sport I love, and Todd is a big reason for that. I strive to relate to kids and coaches, each kid to my best abilities, the same way he did. Now, while I may not get booted out of every game as often as my uncle did, I still let the refs know when they suck. My favorite line I use on occurrence is a Todd classic. Don't give me a bench monitor because you suck at reffing. I have two stories that highlight Todd's character, wit and passion, that I wanted to share before wrapping this up. The first, I was in States my 12-year-old year. We were losing 3-1 and Todd was nowhere to be found. For those that know him best, you know this was not an uncommon occurrence. Even while he was coaching, while the rest of us were playing, and Todd was AWOL. That's in capitals. I was having a great day at the plate, already having one RBI earlier in the game, as well as clearing the bases on a double to go at 4-3. I was on fire. Todd then reappeared when we were winning and casually asked Mark, what happened, how are we winning? As the game continued, we had one out and a runner on second, and I was up to bat again. Still up 4-3, while I was walking through the plate, I overheard Mark and Todd discussing the fact that there was still one more player that needed to get in the game to avoid a potential forfeit because of Little League rules. At the moment, they pulled me from the game. Now, while I was and still am very competitive, I was but after talking to them, I understood why. Unfortunately for Todd, my father, and his fans did not understand. In true Todd fashion, he looks at Mark and says, "Are you going to deal with that?" Referring to the wrath of Greg Hankey, and Mark said, "Dude, you are the head coach, you didn't have to listen to me." I spent the rest of the game in the dugout with Mark and Todd, and in complete honesty, I have never seen Todd so uneasy. Even during that time, I was cracking up knowing that he was thinking, looking back, I don't believe Todd even talked to the team after the game. He was in the car and long gone before my dad could get to him. Thankfully, Mark, being the mediator, talked to my dad, and that was the end of it. The story has been brought up a lot over the years, and I would always say, I could outrun your dad, but if you ever caught me, that was the end of it. I was going back and forth on what the other story I wanted to tell, but since there are women and children in the room, I will go with the more PG options. Another baseball story. That same year we were playing the district game at Huron. We were playing Ovendale, and we're up by a decent amount. As I come up to bat, they pulled their starting pitcher. Todd walked down from the coaching box to talk to me, and out came this tall, lengthy kid to pitch. Todd, while leaning on me, said, "Dude, come on, how fast could this kid really throw?" He's their backup. This was followed up by a 12-year-old kid throwing what I can only imagine being 85, 90 mile per hour pitch. I looked up at Todd with, "What the heck?" Look on my face. And what did Todd say to reassure me? He grinned. He grinned like he always did and said, "Well, crap." And then just walked away. The guy straight up walked away, leaving me up there crapping myself. That was just the type of guy he was. He always went away, leaving everyone thinking, "Wait, did he really just say that or do that?" In any situation, and I loved everything about it, just like so many of you did. I want to conclude this with this. Todd was an incredible role model to me to have growing up, and I am forever grateful for everything he has done for me in my 29 years. But most importantly, Todd was even better father to you, Cole. I know the love he had for you was unmatched, and that is something you will hold on to forever. He was an inspiration to me as a father, and going forward, I will do everything in my power to make sure not only Cole, but Blake and Carson will never go without support. I've got your back from here. Every time you step onto that field, ice or court, continue to leave it all out there and play for the Boyke legacy. On behalf of Nana, Mom, Uncle Mark, Cole, and all of our family, I want to say thank you for being here in remembrance of Uncle Todd. Well, this is an unbelievable, tragic time in our lives. We will get through this as a family, and with the support of all of you, the laughter and unforgettable memories Todd provided everyone with will ensure we will keep this spirit alive forever. I love you, Todd, your nephew, Josh.
Good job.